All right, so I'm pulling all my AUTOGIANO gauge pods off because the oil temp one on the top keeps coming off. It has trouble adhering to this texture, and it's probably because it's bumpy and it's just not that strong. I've tried all kinds of adhesives and it was really difficult to do anything. See how flimsy this is? It also moves around, and I guess probably when it kind of gets cold or hot and shrinks around, it just doesn't work right. Oh wait, big news. I also received my first donation ever. Yes, I sell stuff. People can buy my things, but I had a little donation link just kind of tucked away in the knowledge base section. But I don't hound you guys like Wikipedia. Adam from Maryland, he saw the link, he looked at all my stuff, and he appreciated the work I'm doing for the AZ-1 and Cara community here. So I really appreciate it because all those funds just go towards either development of the stuff or just upkeep of the site. Thank you. I see you also bought stuff too. Thank you again, because it's all stuff for this guy. Well, sometimes for that, but really this guy. I'll still be continuing to update the knowledge base as I gather more stuff. It's actually a lot of effort. It's really tedious to collect all the little pieces of data everywhere and then kind of repost it, like rearrange and everything. I don't know, it's been a struggle. I appreciate all you guys for using it. I hope you guys will use it. So that's why it's there. I want everybody to know as much as possible in one place, especially in English. We all know there are Japanese sources for all this stuff, but it's in Japanese. And yeah, you can use Google Translate, whatever, but I don't know. Let's make an English version of this. Yeah. The most well adhered one is the boost one all the way down here, but that probably just has like help on the dash, and that's why it doesn't really fall off. This one's adhesive has really good grip on the trim here, but a little bit more trouble to pull it off. There it is. Now I gotta get all the wires unstuck from the sticky stuff. Cool. This one only had that clear adhesive tape on it. The other ones all had all kinds of like layers of the very high bond, like that black 3M stuff, and it still all came off. So this, oh wow, this one really adhered really well. I don't know, it's weird. Let's peel this stuff off. Well, actually, this is the oldest adhesive, so it's probably had a lot more time to set and get hard. Maybe that's why. One of the reasons I had to take them apart is I need to repaint these. They got all scratched up from like the gauges falling off and then me trying to like just push them back on while I'm driving. So that's the first thing. Second part of the plan, I'm gonna cut this trim. Yeah, you heard me right, I'm gonna cut this trim. Blasphemy, you say. Yes, yes, I hear you. But my 3 gauges are more important than the trim. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that's where the boost one went. And this is where the water one went, and then this is where the oil one goes. So I'm going to mark the trim to know where to cut it. Oops. Oh! Woo! I kicked that one back into the car so it didn't fall and hit the floor. Do that. You can see right here where I drew on it, so I know exactly where to cut, where the top of the gauge is. I'm going to start a little bit lower just in case, and then I can always trim away, but you know how that works. You can always trim more, but you can't add it back. This whole thing is held together by 3 pop rivets and the weather strip and the window trim right here. There's one hidden up here, there's that one, and there's that one right there. All right, I just realized I didn't record it, but they're just these little Christmas tree pins. They're in pretty bad shape. You can just replace them pretty easily. I'm gonna pull the door seal down a little bit to see if just exposing this will allow me to slip this piece of trim out. Okay, there we go. What is this? So it looked like there was some tape that was holding on some wires here. What is this? This is probably wires for the dome light, actually. So I'm gonna replace the tape, stick that back on there. Should be okay. Clean this up a little bit. Now actually, an important question I need to ask. Does this actually fit here? Okay. Oh wait, slip the trim back on so you can kind of see what it looks like. All right, so Yeah, this should be okay. Huh. Okay, so this isn't exactly what I hoped for. It's clear that the AUTOGIANO gauge pod was meant to mount to the actual A-pillar trim, but in my case I'm having so much trouble mounting it. I don't want to put a screw through it. I don't want to put like permanent like construction adhesive. I don't want to do any of that stuff, because if I ever needed to access the gauge, I want to be able to take it off. So I'm gonna do Velcro. I'm gonna do like a really thick fuzzy Velcro, maybe, I don't know, something onto all over this, and then I'll have some on this, and it should go click right into place. The reason I want to cut the trim is so I would still have some trim right here for the top part, because this will be exposed since there's no gauge all the way up here. This is my gauge pod situation here. I took them all apart because they kept falling off and rubbing on each other and messed up my original paint job on this. I'm gonna use something a little bit more durable after I prep this. I'm gonna use this stuff, the hood bumper and trim paint. I used this on my Suzuki Cara's bumper and it held up pretty well. It looks like a similar color to this. It should be fine. It's close enough to charcoal. It's not actually black. Let's try it out. I'm just scuffing these up with a 320 grit sandpaper block. I don't have any actual sandpaper, so I'm just using this block. It works decently well. Got to kind of roll it around the contours. Prep work is very important to paint. Otherwise your paint might not come out right. And then when it doesn't come out right, you have no one to blame but yourself. It's nice that it kind of turns white a little bit, because then I know I've covered every possible surface that's on here. Alright, this looks lightly sanded to me. Let's clean them up. You gotta make sure that these are clean of any grease and wax and whatever, dust. So I'm gonna wipe them off. That way you can get the best adhesion possible with your paint. Probably should use a new side. Make sure you get every nook and cranny, especially now that you've sanded it. Alright, now to make everything smell like paint. Oops, I sprayed the floor. Alright, round two. Alright, they're looking good. This is what it looks like with the final coat. It's a little bit of thicker coat. It looks like it's a lot more black when it's wet. This is what it actually looks like when it dries. It's kind of like a grayish color. Here, this side might be a better shot. This was painted with the same stuff. I don't know what happened here. I nicked this on something, but it's gonna go from that black color to this grayish color. I've cleaned the area up after I took the trim off so this adhesive would stick properly. Down there at the bottom, that's where my wires come out of the dash. You can kind of see it here. It looks a little unfinished. There's like a little corner right here that will kind of show this. I'm gonna see if I can make that look a little bit better. I hid the wires a lot better with this wire loom. I might like add some black tape here or something to cover that up too, in case it's showing a little bit. So looking at this trim piece over here, it looks like this was contoured to hide that hole a little bit better in the corner there. So the gauge is gonna go, now the gauge is gonna go back like right there, right? All of this will not be any of that panel anymore. It's just gonna be gauge. I'm gonna try to see if I can snip the end of that or something and just use that to fill in the back right there. I definitely would do the same thing for the top. I'm gonna cut it like around here somewhere. And this way I'll have like a finished trim above all the gauges. And that way I should probably do it to the bottom too, somewhere around here. Maybe I should mount the gauges first before I do this. It's a little troublesome working in this corner here. It's not really easy to get at anything. It looks like it rests right on top here, kind of like this, and right on the bottom on the lower edge like that. I'm gonna double check it again, because you know, gotta double check stuff, right? Yep. Yep, that's what it looks like. Let's give it a try. Well, that's a bust. I think I put it too low. Looks like none of the Velcro is touching, actually. After much fiddling around, I found a solution that'll work, because even though this is kind of loose, it's much tighter than what it was, and it stays put where it is, as long as you don't bump it, it seems like. I'm just kind of testing it, because I would never be hitting it, so it should be okay. Because I'm going to try it out this way. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like a dual layer system here. I'm trying to show you this stuff without the glare here, and it's kind of difficult. There's like too much reflection. The bottom one is not attached yet, so it's kind of loose. But this is the top one. This is what it would look like from the outside. I still have one more pod to put up here. I'm going to leave this here for like a day or something and see how it goes. It's kind of cold in my garage. It shouldn't melt off, but it's also cold, so maybe the adhesive, I don't know, it looks pretty good right here. Because really this is all the force it's going to see. Yeah. Alright. You can see how I'm layering the silicone tape on there. Well, I don't know if it's silicone, but it's like this double-sided sticky clear stuff. Now I'm putting the Velcro on here because that like adds the extra thickness that I kind of need to make this happen. As I'm doing this, I'm changing my mind on how I might want to mount this. I'm going to try this out first since I've already started. Not too bad. This is actually better than the second one. And the third one is actually not attached, so that's why it's loose. So on the bottom one, I had only Velcro, and it was not good enough because I couldn't reach the contours, the deeper contours of the A-pillar. So the second one, I added a layer of this stuff. I don't know how thick this is, but that's probably like 1/8 of an inch. I added that, then I laid this on top of it, and that kind of worked. So it's not great, but it's better than what it was. The third one, I put the thick stuff that's about 1/8 of an inch. Then I put some of this stuff that looks like maybe 1/16 of an inch. I don't know, this is much thinner. Then I laid the Velcro on top of that, and this one's good. This is the way I'm gonna do it for now. I'm not gonna cut the trim yet because I'm gonna reserve that for just in case that this does not work either. See, I'm fighting a bunch of problems here. I'm doing this stuff in the wintertime, and adhesive, when it's cold, it doesn't stick very well. It sticks better than when it's too hot, but I don't know, there's trade-offs in both situations. So when this gets hot, I'm wondering if it gets too hot and then it just kind of goops up and just falls off, just like it did before. Maybe, maybe not. Like the adhesion surface is much better than it was with the textured plastic. So I'm gonna leave this for now and call this complete. I'll fix it so they're all the same and with the double tape, and then let's see how it goes. The reason I don't want to cut my extra trim yet is because I might actually still want the entire trim. The gauges were designed to like mate to this surface because this fixes that odd contour on the A-pillar. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna sand this thing smooth. I mean, it's paper thin. I still have some room to go, I guess. I'll sand this thing perfectly smooth where the adhesive would go, and then I would stick the adhesive onto here and put this trim piece back in where it belongs. If all things fail, there's a local company that works with plastics and fiberglass and whatnot that would design stuff like this for interiors. I'll have to have this custom made where they're just gonna put the gauge pods directly on the trim, or maybe a new piece of trim, and then I won't have this problem, but I don't know how much that would cost. I probably should ask first before I struggle so much with all this adhesive, but I've already done this. It is what it is. Once again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you have any great ideas on how to actually do that better than what I'm doing now, let me know. And you'll see me next time. There's plenty more to do on this, and there's plenty more to do on that. There's just too much stuff going on.